Hello everyone. So today we will be taking on the first person character movement. So first person character movement is used in very popular games nowadays like Minecraft, Doom, Halo, Call of Duty. So let us begin on how can we create a first person controller in Godot 4. So here's the preview of how our first person control on Godot 4 will be. So here it is. As we can see, the player has a first control camera. It can move via WASD commands. It can sprint as well as it can jump. So in this tutorial, we will be going through how we are going to make first person control. So let us begin. First, we'll clear both the scenes and we'll start fresh. So here's the empty scene. So this is your workspace. Here you can see the coordinates. So before we start, we have to first understand few things. First is like what we do with first person control, right? So first of all, we have to work with the environment. And before that, we need to first of all give some input commands. Starting with go to project settings and you will most likely end up in the general section first, then the input map. So there is the input map for the Godot project settings, and here you can see the basic controls that are forward, backward, left, right, sprint, exit. So how are you going to add key to your liking? So let's add a key. We call it uh, key. So this add key will act as a variable for which we can set the key value to any physical key. So here we will add the event. So if I want, I can add any number, any letter, any special key. So let's add a control and I will just press OK. So this is how I can add any key. So for now, we'll just keep these forward, backward, left, right, sprint, and exit key. The WASD key is for the movements, the shift key is for the sprint. We'll close this. So let's start with the first scene. So here we will choose 3D scene. So let's type it this world, and the first thing that we're going to do is add a base for the player or the character to move. So we can press Ctrl A to add a mesh instance, and let's name it base. Then let's add a new plane mesh. So yes, we can see a small mesh. Okay. So we know that player can't move in such a small area, so we have to increase the space. So we have two ways to increase the scale of it. So first is either by pressing R or pressing it. We can increase the space, but this is just going to increase the scale, right? So gonna rescale it. We are going to the mesh and we are going to change the size, not the scale. So we'll increase it 20 by 20. And for some changes, we can add a material, shade a material, and that too we can change its color and albedo. We can go here. We can, yeah, that's fine. So we have a proper base for now. So then we are going to save the scene. So to initialize with what you are working on, I would recommend you create three basic folders. The first one should be for the raw assets that you're going to add on the project. The second one is for scripts, and the third one is for the scenes. So since I've made the three folders on beforehand, so I'm going to go to scenes. The name of my scene is test world, and I'm going to save it. So we have the base, and since we have the base, now what we are going to do is add some colliders to the space. So now we are going to the mesh. We can click on that. Then we are going to select the option create collision shape. And in this collision shape, we'll have two options. If you are doing this project like from scratch or something like that, it's initially going to show you siblings. Switch it to start with body child. Then select try mesh or just select try mesh for now. Then select create. Now, once you're done with the collision, you can see the collision, how you're going to see it. Like just go to base, switch it off. You can see the base, right? You can see this, yeah. Then we are going to turn this on, and here our base and the collector for the base is done, and we are going to save this. And before we end this piece of the world part, let's add a basic sun and a basic environment to the scene, and then yeah, we are done with the base. And let's add a node 3D, and we are going to just name it environment or env for now. Let's select this, put this over here, and we are done. So let's start with the player character. So here we are. Let's go and look for character body 3D. So this character body 3D node is a default node presented in Godot, and you can use this to create any sort of player, NPC, enemy AI in 3D. So let's add a mesh instance so that it has a physical appeared body, as we can see. So we can either choose a capsule or we can select the what is it, cylinder, a capsule, a box, or whatever we want. So right now we are just going to go with yeah, there's cylinder and there is capsule. So right now we are going to go with the capsule. And okay, now we can see an error message over here. So the message says this node or this node has no shape, so it can't collide or interact with other objects. Consider adding an collision shape 3D or a collision polygon as a child to define its shape as a child. So now we are going to add a collision shape 3D, and then we are going to select the shape that we want to opt for this off body. So we are going to select the capsule. Yeah, you can see the lines. This is collision for the capsule. Now we are going to select these and we are going to move it on the top so that whenever we push the player to the world scene or the base scene, we can avoid, yeah, so we can avoid replacing it on the surface or finding the surface for it. So that's directly on the surface, so it will reduce the task of replacing it over there. And we are gonna name this player this. And yeah, we're done. Now we're going to save this in the scenes folder. Now we are going to add a new node and we are going to name this as head. And then we are going to add a camera node as the child of the head node. So, yep. Now we are going to the now we are going to the side view, and now we'll try to push it up so it lands somewhere in the middle. As we can see, it's either going to hit in the middle or on directly on the top. So we are going to pick somewhere in the middle. So either you can go with 1.75 or 1.5, and yes, we are in the middle. Let's see. Yep. So yeah. So before we add the scripts to this player, we got to know this camera node over here is going to move on the y coordinate, that is in this up and down angle, and this head node is going to move from left to right. So it's going to give the side view as well as the top and bottom view from two different views. Because if we assign this single rotation to the camera, it's gonna create a mess and bugs. So since we are done with the camera positioning, the head node, and the play body and the collision, now's the main part. So here we are going to add script. So you can either select the default basic movement, or you can like uncheck this and you can have an empty node over there. Yeah, you can either pick any one of them. I will recommend having this base notes because I'm going to show you the the codes that have changed for the first person movement that we want to opt for. So I'm going to press now. Before this, let's change the save path. Let's change the path to scripts and save it and press on create. So here we are. We have the script page. So yes, we can swap between the tabs, and yeah, we can either select between three workspace or the script. So here we are again. So we can see that this particular script, like yeah, before we do that, like let me make the work more easier. So like in the test rule, now we can see the stored the player test node over here. And what we are going to do is we are going to directly place. And since it's over there and we moved it a bit like manually, so we are going to reset it. And here it's on the origin, as we can see. And since it's not in the middle, so it saved us a lot of time placing it on a height axis of one. Yeah, and yeah, since it's scripted, it's pre-scripted on the default script, so we can even test it. And as we can see, it's just going to move front, left, right, and it's gonna use arrow keys. It's not gonna use the default keys that we gave it to run on. So yeah, so we'll again go and select the script. Yeah, we can even access the script directly on clicking on the script rather than selecting the script, or you can select the script. So here we are. So the first is the input vector. So explaining all this is better than I show you the script that I have polished and made it better. So here we are, and here's the overall script. And then copy and paste it over here. So here we are. Before before we check anything, let's move to the scene, the player test, and let's check whether we have selected the nodes that we needed. So here's the head, and here's the camera 3D. Yep. So here we are with the script. So the first line is extends character body 3D. So this is basically just defining the script what it's meant for. So here we have here we have the character body 3D, and the script will belong to this node itself. Because if I try to change it, it's gonna show a error message that it's not the script is not for the right suited node. So first off, we are going to start with defining a variable called speed. The speed is just a variable over here. We are just going to define it because we are using both the walk as well as sprint velocities. So yeah, we are going to need a variable that's gonna define both of them. So here we have added this export at the rate the rate export variable. So this what it's gonna do is if I remove this export, it's gonna make this variable static. Otherwise, if you just add this export, we can edit this manually as per our requirement. We can increase and decrease it. Like here you can see the walk speed initially is at 5, and I can make it 4, I can make 1, I can make it 2, 2.5, any value. So let's stick with 5. And then comes the sprint speed, then jump velocity, mouse sensitivity, gravity value. It's better to use 9.8, but if you're working on some space-based project or something like that, you can increase it or decrease it just by your requirement. Then comes the camera and the camera 3D. Why I've named it? Because it's just a variable, just ignore it. The camera here is the pivotal point for the head, and the camera 3D is for the movement of camera in both the X and Y axis. Then we can see the first function. The function ready is the first functions that's gonna execute when we are going to run the scene. And once we are going to run the scene, it's just gonna capture the mouse. But what do we mean by capturing the mouse? So what I will do is I'm gonna undo this and enter yeah, and now I will test this, right? So I can see that my mouse, like earlier, it's not locked somewhere. It's roaming around freely. But if I comment it and uncomment the previous line, save it, and again run this, I can see it's logged. It has been captured. Then we are going to go with the unhandled events. Like these are just side events that are going to participate with the other functions as well. So here is the function is the requisite function for the camera and the camera rotation. And here is for what if we just press a button. So we remember we named an input point exit. So yeah, we're going to see what this exit is doing later on. You can ignore it for now. Then we are going to see the function rotate camera, that is relative vector motion vector. So here you can see is the camera will rotate in y-axis. As you can see, the camera here. The camera that we defined was this head, if I'm not wrong. So we are going to move this along the y-axis, that is left and right. It will be fixed over there. You can see the movement changes in y in the rotation. I'm going to undo this. And again, we're going to head back to the script and we can see the camera 3D that's over here is linked with the x-axis. And if you go back to the camera and if you can see this and I'm going to transform, yeah, we can see this. It's moving in the along the x-axis, right? You can see the x-axis being changed. Okay. So let's move back to the script again. So yeah, these two are for this for the rotation. And since we are done with the rotation, we cannot let the camera move anywhere we want. Like it's gonna spin around. So we have to clamp it. And so I have decided like it's the best clamp angle, but yeah, you can change it according to your requirements. So I have clamped it from an angle of -40 to +40 from both the y and x axes, and you can modify it as per your requirement. And now we are going to check the physics process that the script is going to apply, starting with basic gravity. So in the floor is this function is like from the previous script itself. And yeah, UI accept is just for the jump. You can just go back to the project settings, rename Just you can add new function called as jump, like for example, yeah, jump added. Now I'm going to add space, close, and instead of you accept, I can replace it with jump. Yeah, you can see it's displaying jump variable over there. And yeah, if I press jump, it's gonna jump. Like if I'm gonna press space, it's gonna jump. And it's just gonna check like whether it's on flow or not. It depends upon the collider where it's close to. Then we have added a simple function for sprinting and walking. So the conditional statement is if I press the sprint button, that is shift, it's gonna increase the speed to sprint. Else, if I release it or if I don't press the sprint, it's gonna return back to its original walk speed. That was it. That was 5. And here we have like the basic movements. Like earlier, we saw it was UI left, UI right, UI up, UI down. And now we replace the values with left, right, forward, and backward, respectively. So here they are. Rather than using the basic arrow keys, we can right now use the WASD keys that we want to use. And then moving down, here's just the basic process for where the physics body is going to move whenever I press the command and in which direction. And at last, like as I told, the exit button. So I just added a simple exit function that what it's going to do is get tree is the main function. Either we can, if we want, we can either use this get tree function to either change scenes, or what we can do is we can use this get tree function as well as to quit from scene itself. So yeah, that's it. That's the overall script. And now we're gonna test. So here we are. Yes, we can jump, we can move, as well as we can move without any issue. And we can see the clamping angle. It's not, it won't like leave that A region. And so yeah, that's it for the story. So that's for it for this video. And if you want to try or you feel like if there are any bugs, you can check out my Git repository. You can download this first person controller. You can download the zip or you can access the script. Don't forget to star or fork project. You can use it for your any project as you require. And that's it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and forward this video to any of your friends or developers who are making a first person controller or are new to Godot. Thank you.